All right. Hello, everybody. Originally, we actually had a video where I was talking and answering questions, but we decided we'd be outside and I'm trying to answer some questions. Yeah, John?
Yeah, it's nice. It's
Shut
a nice
up.
day. Oh, fuck.
Shut up. So I'm gonna try to just go through these like real quick, real fast, just lightning around it, like the whole thing. If my answer doesn't seem long or in depth, I apologize. Just because trying to get a lot of stuff done throughout the day, and I said I would answer questions, so let's try to do it. So let's go.
So the first one says, "Hey Anthony, when designing a character, creature for film or games, do you design with animation / locomotion in mind? Do design poses to suggest movement styles? How much back and forth do you guys get with animation teams?"
So just to kind of paraphrase that question, do I think about really just locomotion, movement, and stuff like that? And the answer is really like not entirely. I definitely think that some things should move, but in the major scheme of things, I just draw what looks cool and feels like it could be functional. And then the animators and the riggers and the modelers will tell me that it is not, and then I go back and make changes. It's easier to make changes and adjustments on a design that is, when you start off with high hopes of being really cool, and then having a team of people help you decide what needs to go. Because sometimes, especially working in games, it doesn't really matter if it clips a little bit, but in film it definitely matters because people are actually wearing stuff. Anyway, next.
This question is, what makes Anthony Jones tick? Describe your personal dream project, something you want to create with great tenacity. Knock it out of the park, or is something in the works?
I think I've already been doing that. I don't know if there's anything that I would want to do. I mean, I'm always wanting to do lots of things, but as for dream projects, I already feel like I've done it. I worked on at Blizzard, and that was great. Worked on some really great stuff. I don't really know. I think what makes me move and do the things I do is because I like to grow as an artist, and I like to help others grow as well. That's why I started my school. It's a bad idea to be outside. Allergies. They're like more. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just like to paint and create. So that's really it. Nothing too crazy.
Next question says, what gives an artist consistency on their work? I mean, ideas and innovation, and how to escape from the cliche.
So originality and trying to be creative and all that kind of stuff. The way to be consistently good at design is you have to be consistently learning and studying. People will study for a short amount of time, at least they think they're studying, and then all of a sudden they're like, why don't I create anything new or original? I always like to say you can't output what you don't input. If you don't know anything, then you won't be able to draw anything. And so I highly recommend studying and researching often. Is one of the number one things that I make my students do. And almost always when I sit down with them and tell them exactly what they should be doing and how they should study, almost like maybe 80-90% of the time they improve dramatically. Like they I don't want to go do that, but it's like once they do, they start to see progress and they start to see the world a little bit differently. There's actually a scientific term that I recently discovered, which is called the illusion of knowledge. So take a look at that, see what you can find out.
Ali Sway asked, is actually a mentor, a student. He said, how does one foosball correctly?
Well, first of all, it's all in the wrists.
It is.
And second of all, you have to pass. Passing and psyching out. People don't pass. That's it.
Next
Better
question.
luck next time, Ali.
What's your take on cliche of immigrating for greener pastures, especially those within and or related to our industry? And then he says, looks north.
What?
It just says, looks north. He's just like...
Oh, I see. Wait, I'm not entirely sure what the question is. Immigration. I'm gonna just vaguely answer this with this vague question. I'm gonna vaguely answer. Immigration is hard. Cliche. I already talked about that. And then I'm gonna look south. I don't know how to answer that. I'm sorry.
Alright. Can you explain how value keys work in the planning of an image?
Sure.
Like if I stick to low key, does that mean there should be no
Low keys.
white in my
boy.
image at all?
Yeah, so I think starting with 3 values is good. Like not absolute white, not absolute black, and a mid-tone. But you get a pretty wide range. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I go all black and I go all white, and then use levels later to kind of bring it back. The only reason why you want to avoid complete blacks and complete whites is not because what you may believe. It's really just because people don't know how to control their values, and what that means is that when they go absolute black, they treat everything that is shadowed at that value range, and that's not entirely true. So if you look at something that's locally valued, like if you look at my shirt, for example, my hat versus my skin and beard, like my skin has its own shadows, my beard has its own shadows, my hat has its own shadows, but they're all at the same intensity in terms of value range. But some people will take the darkness of the shadow, like say for my hat, and then put it to the skin, and then that's too extreme, and then you start running into this problem. It's really just laziness, to be honest. If you just take a little bit of time and just kind of stay focused on your local values and the differences between a lighter local value and its lights, mids, and shadows versus a darker local value and its lights, mids, and shadows, then you'll avoid this problem more. There's 2 parts of values: lighting, and then the graphic read, the local values, like the blacks, shirt, light skin type stuff.
Next question says, how much money exactly do employers need to pay to the government when hiring foreign artists?
I have no idea.
And he also says,
I'm not in that position to know.
how does an art studio situation work? For example, Massive Black, if clients want to hire Jason Chan, does the money go to Jason Chan, or does it go to Massive Black? And the Massive Black boss pays Jason Chan his fixed salary. How does being a part of a studio benefit an artist?
I don't know how Massive Black rolls. In fact, we're trying to work with them, but I have no idea how they roll in terms of payments. I really don't know. As for studios, it's pretty straightforward. You get hired for a fixed salary, and you just work for that salary. But freelance houses, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. But I would imagine if I was running that kind of thing, there would be a percentage change. It depends on, let's say Jason Chan gets all the work, then Jason Chan gets a higher percentage of that income from that employment. And then the rest of it would go back into, let's say, Massive Black, the studio, I would assume, because it's only fair. They got hired, or they hired Jason, but it was through Massive Black. But I'm sure Jason could still take on freelance outside of the company, but I don't think he does that. Not because he feels like, or not because his employer stops him, which is probably Justin. It's probably just because he wants it to go all through Massive Black, because Massive Black is just as much as his as it is the boss's. I think it's more like a group of friends who are under an umbrella of names, versus just like a studio where there's a hierarchy of leadership and management. I mean, they're small. They don't need to be weirdly businessy about that kind of stuff.
Is it okay to keep changing your ideas when there's a new idea that comes up, or just stick to the first concept if you're working on your piece?
I think if you're trying to build a portfolio, you want to build as much pieces as possible. As for stopping, I think it's important to keep I do this myself. I come up with an idea, I'm like, let's do it, and then I just keep doing that. But then eventually one thing will stick, and that's the point. When you find that thing that does stick, that works, you just kind of want to keep pushing that. You want to massage it until you're done with it. Otherwise, you'll never have anything done. And I know, because I do that too. And so it's important that eventually when you find something that you can see works and sticks, then you keep with it.
Love the plasma gun effects technique. Any more of those type of quick effects tutorials in the work?
Sure. I think we wrote I posted on Facebook asking what videos you want to see, and some things were like that, like visual effects, more of that. I think starting this week, or at least the beginning of April 2015, we're going to be just doing videos every day. Because I'm just trying to ramp up into a whole different system of how we are running our school and our company, and so the next step is to do that.
Internships and employment. How does an artist stick his or her foot in the door and become a part of the industry instead of just a student? I'm very curious, as I am a college student but not an art school student. We're allowed to take classes at our sister school, RISD though. Perhaps the best class I have taken so far was from RISD.
Okay. Yeah, internships and all that kind of stuff. Like whenever you're trying to get a job as a student, you have to realize that the title student is, they understand immediately where you're coming from, and so you have to ask yourself, am I ready for employment, or am I just like totally not ready and I'm just a student? I always tell people, whenever you go to these types of places to try to get employment, you should act and treat yourself as a professional, even if you don't have any background or experience yet. Just start putting yourself in this position where you are treated like a professional, so people can give you professional advice. As for internships and all that kind of stuff, yeah, I mean, the way it works is that you just have to, it's just like getting a job. You just got to go out there, you got to meet the right people and push your work, and hopefully you could get one of those things, right? Paid internships the best, where you get that experience and you get paid for it.
So we're about quarter of the way through, and the battery's low.
Is it?
Yeah.
How low is the battery?
It's got one bar and it's blinking red.
Okay. So we have this bookmark, right? So we'll just stop at. We'll do 2 more questions.
All right. Next it says, I like the first question on animation design, but also, do you think it's important to capture the character's personality in the pose you're designing them in? Can a T-pose totally kill interest in a character?
Concept art, it doesn't matter. Like, having the character posed is not important. It's only important when you start to get, like, maybe in the very first concepts, try to explore the world and stuff. But as time goes on, you just need artwork to be built. And so as long as that is conveyed in some way, I mean, you can put it in a slight pose. I think a slight pose is fine. But, like, a major dramatic pose could actually, like, push you away from the overall real sense of the design. I've done concepts like that before, and they're like, they came back to me and they're like, there's too dynamic. Like, I can't tell exactly what this character's about, like in terms of outfitting. So you should be careful of that. Concept art is a design exploration. You're trying to find a solution, and you're trying to explain that in the most simplest of ways. So, like, if you're doing illustrations, yes, but if you're doing concept art, not necessarily. Hey guys, we're walking back to the office, but I just wanted to say thanks for the questions. We will try to continue this sometime tomorrow after we charge our battery. Alright, thanks.